take my time and show you how to build a screen like this. And yeah, so I mean, like I've also illustrated at the left side how I want to approach it. Now you see the way this thing is, I mean, as usual, I'll be doing this in Flutter, so just pay attention. So the way this is, you see that there's a bar at the top here, okay? But which is the up bar, sort of like the up bar here. But the bar is kind of transparent, right? So that's why you can see through the middle. So how it's done is that there was a container, okay? That's the main thing. And then the container sort of has a decoration which is holding the image. Then inside the child of that container is the one that contains the scaffold that is holding these things at the top. So that's how then the subsequent ones are the arrangements. You can see at the down how I want to approach it, sort of this thing. But in this approach, you can approach this with a rounded corner, but I will approach this from instead of using a rounded card approach, I'll use this rounded card approach as the bottom sheet, sort of. So stay with me, and then let's get into the game. All right, cool. So I have created a new app, and it's called a simple app. I mean, you know how I set up project. I have my main where the entry point of the application is, and then my simple app is just the main material app that you can see here. And then quickly that just points to a main page, which is the UI, and right now I just have a container here. So like I mentioned, let's get into it. If you run the app, this is what you see. What is your right here? Nothing more. So what I'll do is that first, I would say I'll make this container have a decoration, and I'll use a box decoration. Let me close this side so that you can see box decoration, and then I'll get a box decoration an image, and then I'll use the decoration image, and then the image will be a network image. I mean, in this case, I don't want to load any image, so you can put in a URL, which I kept from. I got some URL from Pinterest, so that's what I'm using. Let me size this small a bit. Yes, so here in this way. Okay, cool. And then this image, I will sort of give this image a fit, you know. But let me give it fit, the first argument. So fit to the not the network image, a fit on the image itself. So I'll do box fit dot cover. Okay. And once this is done, if we run our application, you should see an image at the background, right? And then the decoration, sort of what we need to do at the decoration side is done, so I can make the decoration a constant. Then after the decoration of the container, which you see this way, I can go ahead and sort of add a child, which is in this case going to be a scaffold, right? Yeah. Which is, let me see, let me go this again. So this is the decoration ends all the way here. So yeah, I can just add a child here and give it a scaffold. Right, good. And then the scaffold will have the up bar, which is the up bar. Okay, in this case, let's do this. And then when we run, you see all of this. And then what I'll do is that the scaffold has a white background, so I'll give the background of the scaffold to be colors.transparent. We go back again, we run this, we have this, and then the up bar primarily also should have colors.transparent as a background. And when that happen, run again. Yeah, this is where we are right now. So let me just mute my error here. So then first, to achieve this, I'll use a leading and I'll use an icon button, right? So that we can click on it, sort of. I'm just going to, so I'll use a leading of the up bar, which is an icon button, yeah, just here. And then we'll give an anonymous function for the click, so it's not doing anything now. So we'll have an icon, we have an icon here, and then we'll do icon dot, I think it's forward iOS, sort of. Arrow forward iOS, arrow back iOS, sort of. Yeah, so that is it. That's the arrow you see there. But I mean, what we need to do now is that it's dark, you cannot see it if you look at it. It's just down there, but to have that white shape around it, what I'll do is that I'll give a style to the icon button, and then I'll inherit from elevated button. That's the simplest way I can think of right now. Then I'll say start from. Once I do this, I run this again. All of a sudden we have that. Then we give a background, right? Background, which is colors.white in this case. You have that, so you have a burst sort of this around it this way. That sort of shape. But the shape we want is like we want something that's looking almost squared with a rounded edge. So the next thing we'll give is the shape, and then we'll say give it a shape of called rounded rectangular border, right? Good. And then let's see if we are getting there. Yes, we have this. And then the rounded rectangular will have a radius, of course, which is a border radius or circular, and it will give you something like 8, which is saying that so you have a kind of rounding the edges a bit, kind of thing. Right, so that's it. And then now obviously try to, let me see if I can put it in the middle sort of here. So I will just kind of wrap this in a padding a bit to see if I can give it some space. Yeah, that's okay. Let me reduce it a bit. That's it. Or I can do that, or let me just not approach it that way. That's fine. And I'll give this some size. Let me see, 24. Okay, the icon is some size of 24. Yeah, something just to stay a bit closer. But then also again, let me round in the padding again, so I have some space around it at the end of the day. I have this. Let me move this constant keyword here, a bit of this, right? So let me reduce this to 4. Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I think can sort of reduce this to 20. Yeah, I mean this is a yeah. So technically, you want to achieve something like that. At the end of the day, I can try and see. I'm trying feeling like it's not exactly in the center, so let me center it again. Let me see that works. I mean that's okay, but center itself I think has some padding, which is I think width factor and height factor, so you can play around it and just make sure that I think after adding this padding it's kind of increasing the whole thing a bit. So let me just say if I remove these things again, okay, so I think the center kind of gives you some space around, so feel free to play around with it at the end of the day. So I don't think the center is giving us the result we want. Let's maintain the padding. Yeah, this is kind of something we want. Or if you don't want the padding to be all over, you can give some kind of symmetric padding if you want to. So I'll go ahead and I'll do the same thing for the right side, which is in the up bar, which is called actions. So the same icon button, I'll repeat the same thing there. So all of this, right? Yeah, as simple as that for the sake of today. Then I can have this, I can have more vets. I think it's called more vets because it's kind of vertical, so I'll do that. Yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. And then I think it's too, like, I mean, way to the end. That's not something we want to do. So instead of doing a padding, I'll do a container in this case, right? And I'll remove this. What I want to do is give it a bit of padding, that's fine. But then I also want to give it some margin, edge insets, pulling to the right. Just so I can give some space towards the right side. Let's try that. Yep. Okay. I mean, we should be doing that. Sorry, we should be doing that around the whole container rather than the whole just inside that side. So of course, I can maintain my padding here, and then my constant keyword can be here. Then instead of giving everything, I could have just given the whole thing a padding or wrapping it in a container. If you want to, I can give it a container, then I give it some margin, I have only, and then I'm doing right thing so that I can see. Yes, so I can see it pushed here, but I think that's just too much. I'm feel free to apply the same thing to the other side if you want to. So that's me just moving it kind of towards the left side a bit, so I can apply something here. So you see, good looking as it now. I mean, if you want to use exactly the same image, you can go for it. So I have this. Then in the scaffold, I would have there's something called bottom sheet. So I will do a bottom sheet, all right. Then I'll give it a bottom sheet. It's called bottom sheet. This, all right. On closing, you need to override that function. On builder is going to be an anonymous function that sort of takes a builder as an argument. So builder context, and then it has to return the container, which is or whatever widget you are putting inside. Let me do this, and for now let me say the height is 500. Feel free to play around with the height and do whatever calculation you need to do. So immediately I have this, and then of course, yeah, I mean, if I say it's always going to be the middle, then I can do some calculations around that. So we'll adjust it, but a few things we want to do. Want to say show draggable handle true. That's the one that puts the dots here. Let's do that. So you have this draggable handle, which is the thing that is showing here. Then we can also use the draggable handle color. Let's say colors dot black, which is going to be its color. Okay, so that's dark. So we have this thing. You can adjust the width, say draggable handle size, so it can be size. I mean, I can just say size, then provide a width, which is let's say 100, and height, let's say 2. So you give that. So yeah, I mean that's what you want to give. So feel free to do that. That's you playing around the height and the width. So let's say suppose to say this is 4. Right, so that's just to look a bit close like this one. You should feel free around that. Of course, that's generally it. And then here, your container will have a chart, which is a column, which will now house the remaining entities that are inside. So let's go ahead and add this once quickly. So first, what I will do over here, I mean, I can approach this from a list style perspective where I have I can just, let me just use this as a text view. Then the bottom side will be a list style, so a column, where we have the top to be, so we have children, so inside, I'm going to see a padding, let me see, I mean, yes, let's say padding, and insert padding dot symmetry, just so I can have the luxury of giving some space around things, which is this. And then child of the padding will be a text. So that will be sort of Hannah Jonas 25. So let's see, Hannah Jonas dash not 25. Let's give this some style, text style, font size 24 or 20, font color, font width, bold, this. Then also we want the text all to align to the left, so we'll give the axis alignment of the column to be start so that everything is back to the left side. Let's also do the same for the cross axis, so that will move everything to the start. But then if this now everything is fitting, so we can say text alignment. Let's do text alignment just let's say starts. I mean, this is supposed to I'm not sure why it's not aligning to, but then let's add a few more elements that should adjust. So the second thing is a list style, leading, no leading, title, which is a text. See, that is the fashion designer, and the second one California, USA. So fashion designer, right? So yeah, I mean, because I mean the column by default was kind of not wrapping the thing well, and then also generally add some padding to the whole container, which is sort of everything, and then let's just say 16 for now. So everything that's inside has some space of 16. Good. We have this subtitle. We have all this symmetry here. Let's see how this goes. List down, let's say content padding, and insets. So that we don't have any space around it. Good. So that we don't have any space around this text. And the text will be gray, fashion designer, California, USA. California, USA. Sort of, let's use the style here. But so instead of, so we have a style. Instead of having all this thing, this will be normal. Let's not worry about this because we don't need to change that. And then the color, we can say colors, that's gray. So we use the same thing here. I mean, if I'm writing a very scalable code, I would have found a way to clean some of these things up. So my style. Right, so we are closer to that. Let's add this hat, which is let's say it's a container with some slides background, and then the hat color is inside. But if someone is going to click on it, then we need to make it so let's say somebody click on it, so let's make it an icon button sort of, so that the person can click on it. So we have that. So we say the list style would have a trailing. This is an icon button, so that we don't have to do a lot of work. Icon button, icon, Yes.
Hello.
Hey. What's up?
Cool. Lucky's not there.
It's gone.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. So we have the icon button. I mentioned we have to add. Let's do that again. Icon button. We do this. Icon. Icons. Say hats. I don't know. Where exactly our hats usually is located. Whoa, always keep showing heartbroken. I don't know. I mean, let's not make the video long. Let's just use hearts now. I don't know. Let's say like or something. We don't have. Let's just stay with this for now. Color is the pink, I think so. Right, and then let's do, so if we run this, we have this, okay. So let's size this up a bit. Let's say it's this, sort of that. And then let's say there's a star to the button, right? From an elevated button perspective, the star from background, let's do pink, but then we dim it down a bit to some color. So the natural color itself would be the pink, but then we apply some bit of alpha, so we have a bit of kind of toning down, so you can see what's happening to the side of our application here. So we can have this, and then it's clickable by itself. So if you look at here, sort of it can be clicked. All right, yeah. So we have that. I think that works fine. If you look at our application, yes, we are there, at least from a higher level design. And then once we have that, after our list style, we can add that line, which is more or less like a divider. If you look at it, so we just call divider, and then sort of some height, let's say 2, some color, which is colors. If you do colors dot gray, if you do this, yes, you should have that. And then let's tone it down a bit by saying some alpha property, so that we can reduce the intensity. Good. This works fine, but if I want to do some more things and give some more space, so the next is going to be a text, which is the about, which I can literally just copy the text that is here, right? If you want to avoid all these things, you can just do this constant keyword against it, and then of course put a constant keyword against this, and sort of another constant keyword against this, constant keyword against this, and then you remove that. And after this, you can paste the text. Before I put a comma here, and here I can say about. We run this. Okay, then the symmetry here, we haven't provided anything. Let me do a vertical symmetry, which is literally, let's say 16, so that I can give us something to the top. Yes, that's it. And then we can give it text, which is like one of these texts down here. All right, so I can copy this down here. So you can just literally just do some type of the text you want to put there. So just type all the text you want to put there. I'm gonna just do cool. I can just run this. Yes, so make sure you put as many text there as you can to do this. Then the last thing I want to add is this button, which is the last part of our design today. This is a button, so I see elevated button, but I want to add some spacing around it, so I'm going to add it into a padding, right? And I'm going to do some sort of symmetry, so that I can give a separate one for vertical, and if need be, I can do another one for, and then I'll give a child. Right, so we have this, and then the child is going to be an elevated button. You need to override the onPress with an anonymous function, and your child literally in that case here is a text, but then I'll also put the text in a padding so that I can afford to give some space around it, which is, let me just approach kind of 16, but feel free if you don't want to do anything around the text for today, nothing around the text. I want to apply a text, and then you can just put in the text, which is message more, message now, sort of. Okay, I think, yeah, so this is right. And then the thing you want to do is to apply a style on this button, elevated button, the style from background, colors dot pink, right? This is it. Let's now say we apply some style on the text that is inside. text color, the most important things, colors, dot white. Right, cool. So you have white text inside, and then one last thing you want to write, very important, is the size of the button. It's called minimum width. Minimum size width, I'm going to say double dot infinity, and the height I'm going to say 44. Let me see if this works. Yes, this works. As an easy hack around it. I mean, and it's the reason I was, if you look at this, you want to give some space around it. So it's the reason I was saying, of course, feel free if you want to increase this to something like this, and then maybe you want to bump this up a bit. There are better ways to do it, but then at least so that generally you have this. If we increase the contents of the text we a bit, which is this, we have a bit of it coming down. So generally this is the general design. Feel free to go through it, but then this is how you go about achieving something like that. I mean, you would want to kind of center this or give it some width to ensure, for instance, I think there's so it's the leading of the bar. I think there's a leading width or something, which if I fix, I can have some changes coming there or something, so you can play around with it and obtain what you want at the end of the day. Yeah, but at the end of the day, generally this is how you approach it, and then they are all actionable at the end of the day, and then you can implement the control listener for you to drag this up and down. So thank you, and then see you in the next one.